On today's show, we speak to a gambling addict to how he deals with his addiction at university.
What can we expect when entering into the spring season?
And to see if you have what it takes to make the Inferno Hall of Flames. Welcome to Lockwood TV's Wing and Doyle show with me, Josh Wing.
And me, Chris Doyle.
Posters around the city centre that encourage people not to give to beggars has received backlash from the public. Nottingham City Council intended to warn that handing money over to beggars would perhaps go towards drugs. But why are these posters so controversial? Reporter Josh Hall went to find out more.
Watch your money go up in smoke. This was an advertisement campaign issued by the council to prevent giving to beggars. The Canaan Trust, a Christian charity created to care for the homeless, wasn't impressed by the council's efforts. Based in Long Eaton, the trust serves the needs of the homeless for all parts of Derbyshire and Nottingham, helping get people all the help that they need.
I look at these and they are generalisations, they are sweeping in their statements. I think it basically is appalling.
An anonymous street artist, vandalised these posters in an attempt to protest against the council's message.
If I actually had the ability for the City Council to spend money on posters that I would like to see up, I would actually be trying to send that message. Homelessness is not a lifestyle choice. Homeless is not an it, it's a they. They're human beings. As our little saying goes on to say, they're someone's father. They're someone's son, they're someone's brother. They're real human beings.
But what did Nottingham think? Well, we asked a few locals what they thought of the issue.
That the council were right to put them up. Not all homeless people are druggies.
I think we should give to the homeless. Everybody's got different reasons for being homeless and we shouldn't judge people. But beggars, I can't stand. But it's what you class as a beggar.
I think it's quite disgraceful, actually. It's a sensitive subject and it's a bit careless, to be fair.
The council wouldn't comment on the campaign's backlash, but the posters have now been taken down. Joshua Hall, Lockwood TV.
Tonight, Man City play PSG in the Champions League. Have you got any bets on that, Chris?
With City being my favourite team, I've got bets on City to win.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, have you put any bets on in the past and how have they gone?
At home, yeah, embarrassingly I have put quite a lot on in terms of the Grand National being on. It's rude not to, but I haven't won anything there.
Really? Well, just like Chris, many students find it difficult to resist putting on a bet on their favourite teams. With bookies and online gambling services opening all year round, is it becoming too easy to be addicted to betting? Reporter Josh Spragg has gone out to find more.
Nottingham's Old Market Square is littered with 4 high street bookmakers, with Coral, William Hill, Betfred and Ladbrokes. And now it is so much easier to bet on any platform. As you can see, I scroll through all the options on my Betfair account on my mobile phone and can make a bet in almost no time at all. But does this beg the question, is it becoming too easy to become addicted? According to recent studies, 73% of the adult population gambled in the past year, equating to 35.5 million of us. Men dominate in all but 2 areas of the gambling sphere, these being scratch cards and bingo. And at-risk gambling is age-defined, with rates higher amongst younger adults compared to older adults. Students are an at-risk demographic when it comes to betting, with 20% saying they've gambled in an attempt to make money. Low incomes, combined with the desire to make quick money, make a gambling addiction a very real possibility for a student. Now, how much would you say you gamble in an average week?
On an average week, I'd say I bet around £120 on a whole variety of different sports.
Okay. What forms of betting do you do? Say, would you go into a bookies or is it more online?
I think online betting, especially for students, is just predominant now because all students are on their phones. It's so easy to do rather than to go into a bookies.
Yeah. Would you say you're addicted to gambling?
Yeah, because it always comes up in conversation throughout a day. I'll always be looking at the odds before I'm watching a football match or something like that.
Yeah. Do you feel there's sufficient support for gambling addicts, well, especially student gambling addicts?
I think it goes under the radar for students because no one really thinks about it. It's always based on old people in the bookies gambling all the time, not young people.
Yeah.
So more needs to be done.
It's clear that the rewards outweigh the risks in Zach's case. The thrill of the win is what keeps him betting. But it is always a risk, especially for low-income students. Gambling is a very dangerous addiction, and as they say, the bookie always wins. For any help or support, visit gambleaware.co.uk if you feel like your gambling is becoming a problem. I'm Josh Bragg for Lockwood TV.
Well, earlier I spoke to psychologist Tracy Spence, who works as a counsellor in Nottingham. I asked her, when does gambling become dangerous?
I think that's as soon as somebody's lost control of the compulsions. If they feel that they've got to give in to the compulsions and they can't control it anymore, that can snowball into a cycle, a vicious circle, if you like, where they can be getting into debt, and then that can lead on to further complications where they could start committing crimes, theft and fraud, and can end up in prison. So it can just so easily get out of control and take over and ruin your life.
What's available for gambling addicts?
I think there's a lot. There's a lot of gambling accessible online, but there's also a lot of online help. It's really easy to access. If you put in gambling addiction support, you would get a page full of people that can help. GamCare is a really good one. They offer all sorts of free advice and counselling, and they have a helpline, they have a text line, they have a forum for people that are affected by it that aren't necessarily the gamblers themselves. There's all sorts of different organisations like Gamble Aware. There's even NHS Choices, who would refer you to National Problem Gambling Clinic.
Yeah.
There's the Counselling Directory, there's Gamblers Anonymous, like there's Alcoholics Anonymous. There's all sorts.
What would you recommend for students then?
I think the first thing is to acknowledge that it's become a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
If it's causing you debt problems, if it's giving you difficulties that you can't control, you need to acknowledge that to yourself first, and then start reaching.
So there's a lot out there for students. They can access it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you to Tracy for coming into the studio earlier today.
Now moving on, women's football has been on the rise for years and is now available on TV. Some might say this is due to the success of the women's national team. However, women's football still faces a lot of issues in today's society. Lockwood TV's Grace Connery has more.
Across the media, it seems that sport is extremely male-dominated, specifically within football, leaving a lack of coverage for the females, even though the England ladies reached the semi-finals of the 2015 World Cup and have recently qualified for the 2017 Euros. Local team Solihull Ladies FC, who play in Division 1 of the West Midlands Regional Football League, talk about some of the issues that women footballers face in today's society.
So I've came to their training session to see what they think of it all.
The FA launched a flagship programme nearly 2 years ago to encourage more participation in women's football. Sport England have recently released national figures of the engagement within women's football, showing that the target has exceeded. However, the sexist and stereotypical remarks are still around today. Could this be a reason why women don't get involved in football?
Do you think that sexism still exists within women's football?
I think that there's a stigma attached to women's football from maybe a male football point of view, but not. I think necessarily it's not as bad as it used to be.
More than 400 million people watched the semi-final of England ladies in the 2015 World Cup. Women are getting some of the top jobs at the Premier League clubs, and there is an increasing growth in female presenters for sports programmes. However, some may argue that even though we are in 2016, the prolonged stereotypes still exist to a worrying degree towards women's football.
And then I'd probably say going into the women's game, particularly at WSL, we'd get comments on Twitter off idiotic people most of the time. Girls shouldn't play football, wear this, wear that, all the derogatory terms that you get from some people. So sometimes it happens, but then there's been some positives as well. So.
Women's football is the third most popular participation sport in the UK, after men's football and cricket. However, it fails to get at least a fraction of the media coverage. The Women's World Cup final in 2011 was the most tweeted about event that year. However, you didn't see it in the papers. But why such the big divide? The question which is still so hard to answer.
Leaving the EU could have a massive impact on British businesses. With just under 10,000 dairy farms in the UK, this represents an important part of the British economy. So how would leaving the EU affect our farmers? Lockwood's Jake Mescal has gone to go find out more.
Gables Farm in Nottinghamshire is just one of 10,000 farms left in the UK that produces dairy. Since last year's changes to EU regulations, small farms like this one have struggled to keep up with competition from around Europe. So would leaving the EU on June the 23rd benefit our British farmers?
I think one of the major problems is there's an overproduction in milk caused by the demise, if you like, or scrapping of milk quota by the EU last year. So we've got a milk lake again, which obviously more production pushes the price down because you've got supply and demand. Too much supply, not enough demand.
Unfortunately, changes to EU regulations are not the only thing that are affecting our farmers. They also believe that supermarket price wars have driven down the price so much that they are now not being given enough money to cover their production costs.
With the price going down, we can't reinvest. That's one of the big problems. We can't afford to buy the feed, as much feed. We can't reinvest. If anything goes wrong in a major way, such as tractor renewing or something like that, we're struggling. But also at the moment, what's happening is we're not meeting the cost of production. So it's costing more to produce the milk than what we're getting for it.
But how much would the people of Nottingham be willing to pay for 4 pints of milk?
Probably about £2 maximum if I had to, if I knew the money was going somewhere good, to keep the farmers in work. And I know the supermarket price wars probably makes them get less because it's about £1 now, isn't it, or something like that.
Personally, I'm not willing to pay more than it is because I think it's already expensive enough.
Depends how much they actually want, because to me, if it keeps them in the business, that's what it's all about, and keeping the UK going, because there is a lot of foreign businesses out there that have got cheaper prices, but in any terms, what about us? Because when the jobs are gone, where are we going to go and get money from? So I would say between 130 to 140. If it's a bit more, it's a bit more.
It's clear that some farmers will be supporting the Out campaign on the 23rd of June. But regardless of the EU referendum, it is vitally important that the dairy industry in Britain is able to get back on its feet. Jake Mescal reporting for Lockwood TV.
Now, if you're a lover of music, camping, wellies and a beer, this is the season for you. As lineups continue to be released, the festival season is well underway. Lockwood TV's Jade Vowles has been speaking to some of the local artists that are getting involved.
As the Great British Spring sets in over Nottingham, bands, artists, DJs and music lovers across the city are getting ready. Tents, mics and wellies are packed up for everyone's favourite time of year. It's festival season. As lineups are released, the hype begins. Nottingham hosts a number of the country's favourite events. The City Festival Dot to Dot, as well as No Tomorrow and Splendour at Wollerton Park are some of the favourites. Artists such as Jess Glynn, Mystery Jets and Temper Trap are among those taking part. But what does it mean for up-and-coming local talent?
I guess it's just getting more exposure really, because you can play some gigs where you're just playing to the other bands that are playing or your friends. You do get those gigs from time to time where you don't have a lot of people. So by playing festivals, it's a bigger audience, so you get more exposure and more people can hear your music. So I guess for me, the main advantage of playing a festival would be playing to a larger audience.
Stuff like Splendour, where they have like a local artist on the main stage, that's great. Reading and Leeds the other year had like Narwhals on the main stage, which was also really cool. So they give like smaller bands bigger opportunities, which wouldn't happen before, which is great.
As well as getting artist names out there, it also gives them the chance to experience something they might not at an ordinary gig.
Suddenly during my set, bear in mind I'm quite laid back and stuff, there was like this huge hay fight which was just outright chaos. There were like loads of children running about, it's never happened before. And I got like a little uncle, which was great. I was also playing in Wellies, which is a gig first, so.
It's time to pull on your wellies and get those tickets. I'm Jade Voles, and this is Lockwood TV.
Speaking of festivals, the UK's largest gin festival is finally come to Nottingham. You'll be able to try out over 100 different kinds of gin this Saturday. Make sure you snatch up your tickets before they're all gone.
Now, is tourism being affected by the recent terrorist attacks? Popular tourist destinations such as Belgium, Egypt and France have seen a decline in the visitors. This comes after the recent attacks. In these areas, the Foreign Office has branded these areas as a high threat. When making travel decisions, tourists now take into account safety and security. We asked Nottingham locals how they feel about travelling and if such attacks discourage them from going abroad.
People are really scared about travelling abroad because you'll never know what will happen.
And I can't imagine that I'm about to travel to Belgium at all. But I don't think, other than that, I can't think of many places that I wouldn't just carry on as normal.
I'm still going to Marseille for the Euros 2016, but I can see why people wouldn't want to go. But if you don't go, it's like you're letting them win. So go!
Musicians are getting a great chance to showcase their talents. An open mic night at a Nottingham venue has even attracted talent scouts from a top TV show. Filthy's Open Mic Night is where musicians can perform in front of a live audience every Tuesday. Some of the biggest artists, such as Ed Sheeran and Jake Bugg, began their careers at similar venues. The acts playing here are hoping events like these can kickstart their music careers. The sessions have been gaining an increasing reputation, with scouts from the BBC's The Voice recently coming down to find future talents for its shows.
Every week we have a spotlight artist who we promote all of their page and their music. Other than that, it helps people through. I work with some promoters called Under the Tree, and I basically send them musicians like the best ones that we have here. So I get people actual gigs, the people that come down and play the open mic as well.
It has been nearly 50 years since the first released Jungle Book, and that's my dad's favourite film.
It's a classic, Chris.
This popular film has now been remade and appears on screen this Friday. It includes the likes of Idris Elba, Scarlett Johansson and Bill Murray. Disney are so confident about this film, they're already making a sequel.
Moving on, do you love pizza? Well, you'll be happy to know that Nottingham's Inferno Pizza is hosting a weekly competition to add a new pizza recipe to their menu. Lockwood's Katie Taylor has more.
Pizza has been named one of the world's most popular foods due to the endless possibility of flavours and toppings to choose from. But have you got what it takes to make an award-winning pizza recipe? Well, Inferno Pizza is giving Nottingham folks the chance to enter a weekly pizza competition to win a place on their Inferno Hall of Flames menu. So, what do you have to do? To enter, take a trip to Inferno Pizza and get your customised pizza made. Then take a picture of it and think of a name for your creation. Get as imaginative as you like. Post it on Facebook or Twitter with the hashtag Hall of Flames.
I'm here with George Land, a pizza lover, here at Pizza Inferno, and George is going to submit his recipe into Pizza Inferno this week. So George, what's your pizza recipe?
My pizza would be cheese with, sun-dried tomatoes, chorizo sausage, bit of rocket, chili oil and some jalapenos. And yeah, that'd be it.
That sounds good. And what will you do if your pizza ends up in the Inferno Hall of Flames?
If my pizza ended up in the Inferno Hall of Flames, I would like to see people try eat it because it's quite a spicy pizza. So as I'm a bit of a hothead myself, I'd be quite entertaining to see people give it a go.
Sounds great. Now don't forget, if you want to submit your pizza here, go into Pizza Inferno, take a picture and submit it to Twitter or Facebook with the hashtag Hall of Flames. This is Katie Taylor reporting for Lockwood News.
So with that in mind then, Chris, what would be your dream pizza?
Oh, definitely chicken and bacon. The nice crust on the end. I think definitely the stuffed crust, but after that, none of the funny business. No fancy cheeses.
You know what, I have to agree with you on that one. I like a bit of chicken, I like a bit of bacon, but I think I might throw in the odd sausage in there as well. Anyway, that's all the time we've got here on Lockwood TV. Tune in next week for more, and if you can't, wait for us to find us online at www.cbjspotlight.co.uk or follow us on Twitter at CBJ News Reports. Bye for now.